Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to another Mystic Monday. This month's teaching is all about the alchemical marriage, uniting the unconscious and the conscious mind, uniting the masculine and the feminine, uniting your inner solar qualities and your inner lunar qualities. We see this with the yin and the yang from Taoism, where this is the great work. The Hyros Gamos of inner union. To heal means to become whole again. It's not about severing yourself, cutting off your jealous parts or your parts that you thought were unlovable back in the day. That's what created our trauma is fragmentation. Or that's what we did to survive our trauma, is we fragmented, we put ourselves into pieces so as to self-preserve in a traumatic experience where we didn't feel like we could process it and go into the emotions fully. So we split off so often. We do this. We split off from our totality where we imagine we're hovering above the event, or we have this soul loss, as the shamans would call it. So this month, we are really diving into the teachings on becoming whole again. And this episode today is for the mystical person. A lot of women are going to resonate with this, and it doesn't matter how you identify, this is for the mystical person who came to earth connected to oneness. We all come to earth connected to oneness. This is for the sensitive being who felt everything, who saw into different dimensions, who really had a hard time adjusting to life on earth. This is for the being who's naturally, deeply empathic and compassionate, more attuned to the feminine qualities of intuition, of channeling, of seeing what other people don't see, feeling what other people don't have the capacity to feel, the deep feelers. I had a childhood of spiritual attacks where I was in a really safe home and I felt haunted every single night. So I know that I am that type of soul, a deep feeler, someone who is meant to be a healer on this planet. In the Western world, we often medicate these type of souls and put them in mental hospitals. I've been in a mental hospital. I checked myself in because I felt really unstable, and what it was a spiritual dis-ease. And I really want you to hear this if you're resonating already, that nothing is wrong with you. You are the healer, the light worker, the person we've been waiting for. Culture told you you're wrong, you're bad, you don't fit in. But if you were raised in a shamanic culture, you would be likely taken and trained. Instead of being taken to a mental hospital, you would be taken to spiritual training. Because if you don't fit the mold in these other cultures, you are a leader. You are recognized as somebody that doesn't fit the mold. And so you are here to be progressive with change, to help the tribal culture evolve spiritually, to create change. So it's time to awaken your identity of being a healer. You don't fit in because you are meant to find your own people, and you will fit in when you find and as you find your people, but you don't fit into the norm. You can't follow the crowd. You're not coded to do that. In the whole world, your culture, your society, your upbringing may have made you believe that you're bad and you're wrong and you don't fit in. And maybe you spent years of your life trying to bend yourself, but you're different. And the Mystic's Path Mystery School is for you, the sensitive being who is awakening to their identity as a healer on this planet. And in this episode, I want to bring you into a necessary practice and understanding for souls like me. And this is the masculine principle. Beyond gender, there are pieces of gender to this, but beyond gender, the masculine energy is the chalice that holds the water of the feminine. It's the containment of the feminine. Carl Jung talked about individuation and integrating the shadow, and how a woman has an inner man, I believe it's the animus, and a man has an inner woman, the anima. And we, on our path to wholeness, get to evolve our inner feminine and masculine and marry them. The Hieros Gamos, the great work, the philosopher's stone of alchemy, the inner covenant of your masculine and feminine energy. And your first representations of these energies are mom and dad, or lack thereof, whatever your experience was in your upbringing. Your first coding that you experience as conditioning on this planet with the masculine is father. And the first coding you experience is the mother for the feminine. The two wings of Buddhism. I'm an interfaith minister and a shamanic minister, so I got to weave the traditions here. The two wings of Buddhism are compassion and wisdom. Think about the feminine energy as connected to love. Love and compassion unite. It's a bonding force, like a mother and her baby. It's a binding force. It is coming together. It is complete, unconditional love, compassion, empathy. And women are deeply connected to the spirit world because we are bridges between the world. With the womb, we have a portal within us. I will be talking about a little bit of gender in here, but it's more than that. You have feminine energy that's not associated with gender, and then you have the pieces of gender that are here. So take what resonates, leave the rest. So the mother teaches compassion, love, your value beyond your roles. Love, unconditional love, the most powerful force. Masculine energy is connected to the wisdom piece of Buddhism. Wisdom sifts and separates and sorts. To be wise is to have experience of contrast, where you have 20 failed relationships, meet your dream person, and now you have the wisdom of how you got from A to B. This is the masculine energy. So we have the uniting force and the separating force. And some people talk about the masculine energy as the I am. This is Martian energy, the I am. This experience of separateness, the experience of the ego. And when you study Tantra, you learn that for a man, the way to awakening for him is from the base up. So masculine energy has a stronger root connection to the root chakra. If you're familiar with the Indian chakra system, it just means wheels of energy within us, ranging from our earthly connection to our heavenly connection. And men have, masculine energy has more of a connection to this realm and attaining in this realm, becoming in this realm. Feminine energy is more connected to the ethereal. We're visionaries. We see things. We prophesize. We're the oracles of a culture, where men and masculine energy is more connected to the warriors of the culture and people who protect and secure the land and the home, who provide containment and security. Whereas the feminine energy channels heaven to earth, brings through the oracular wisdom for a culture, for a tribe, for a community. And spiritual women need a strong protector. My father provided for me financially, but wasn't able to provide and contain me emotionally. So I felt completely rejected for my emotions from my father. And I felt unsafe in my emotions because he wasn't able, God bless him, I love him so much, but he wasn't able to meet my depths. And so I was left to my own devices. And I would scratch my skin and pull my hair out. I wasn't contained in my emotional body. So then my task as an adult is to grow my inner masculine. When the feminine is lacking masculine, it's emotional possession, it's chaos, it's inspiration without action. It's insight that's not grounded, and it can lead to spiritual attack. And often it does, because your energy is up in the higher chakras. Feminine energy is more associated and connected with the higher chakras of spirituality and oneness and all the possibilities and potentials. And then the masculine energy says, Let's bring that into form. Without a strong masculine, you get stepped on by the world, spiritually and physically. There are beings in the spirit world that do not serve love, just like there are humans that are dangerous and don't serve love. So think about your inner masculine as your inner provider and protector. And for women, the masculine energy is a little bit less mature than the feminine energy, vice versa for men. So, as a sensitive healer soul, it is required, it is necessary to evolve your inner masculine. The inner masculine sets the boundaries. And I learned this the hard way because I would walk into a grocery store and I would feel everything. I would think all these thoughts and I would panic. Why? Because my auric field, my emotional body was bleeding through into the environment. I didn't have a sense of separateness that's needed to be balanced on this planet. And then if you talk about too much masculine energy, life is black and white. There's no joy, there's no pleasure, there's no inspiration from above. Life is too dry and boring and dull, and there's a lack of connection. There's a lack of intimacy. What I've really experienced, though, is too much yin or feminine and not enough masculine or yang. And when one's out of balance, so is the other one. And a real practical way to look at this, a practical example is say I got triggered, I feel really upset. The imbalanced feminine would get possessed by that emotion, which means it hijacks the nervous system and you react from a place of emotional possession. When you're in a state of a trigger, your nervous system gets hijacked. And it's like you have a desktop computer with a little file that says the abandonment wound, and it gets double clicked and it takes over the whole screen, which means the unconscious wound takes over the conscious mind. So, in order to rebalance this, we got to be wake up in the dream and bring the light of consciousness down into the body and create some boundaries with our emotions. This could look like setting a timer for 15 minutes and screaming and crying or raging, punching pillows safely. And when that timer goes off, you start to cool down and drink some tea and understand what you've learned and where these emotions are guiding you. Emotions bring truth often, right? If you get really angry, maybe a boundary was taken advantage of and you need a stronger force field around you, right? So emotions are messengers. Too many people on this planet get possessed by their emotional bodies and they react from that place. And when you react from emotional possession, you regret what you do. You might hit, you might throw a phone, you might yell, you might say something that is irreparable in your relationships. And I'm a deep feeler, so it's my duty to hold space for myself, to move my body, to move the emotions through my body, to stop frickin' analyzing them and actually get on all fours and start screaming and safely and start crying and start pounding the pillows. Emotions do not live in your brain. They need to be expressed physically or they get stuck and stagnant and they bear weight over you, which is connected to being to physical weight. Physical weight and overeating and binge eating, I've totally done this, and I had a real problem with this. I was creating a boundary with food and with physical weight. It's a barrier between me and the world. A lot of sensitive people struggle with food and struggle with weight. Why? One reason is because they're trying to create a boundary. Every habit that you do, whether it's positive or negative, is a self-preservation habit. The addiction's trying to balance you out. The binge eating is trying to balance you out. And I'm saying, listen, I was addicted to pot for 7 years. I had a binge eating problem, and I've gotten out of those. I've cleared those. I've released those. I used to feel trapped because I started to understand that there's a spiritual root cause to these diseases. And for the binge eating and for the spiritual woman, the spiritual feminine energy, we've got to set up security. This is about spiritual security. You're not too much. You're not too sensitive. That's BS. You're not too this. You're not too that. You're not enough. You just need to learn how to wield your power in the physical world and in the spiritual world. And I have a whole free bundle on this. It's an energy mastery bundle. Go get that right now. It's in the description. I'll link it everywhere below in the comments and the description. This has helped hundreds of people, hundreds of my clients, to place proper energetic boundaries and shields over their body and aura so that they go into the grocery store and they're sealed. How many thoughts are you thinking that don't belong to you? How many emotions are you feeling that don't belong to you? One time I was sitting at a stop sign and my mind was bup, 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 and I stopped at the stop sign and I said, out loud, I turn all my psychic gifts off now. And it went dead silent. Learn to wield your spiritual power by placing proper boundaries. And once I started doing this, I let go of my binge eating. It just fell off. I didn't fight it and beat it to the ground and then win. I received the wisdom in the binge eating. I received the understanding of why I was doing this to balance myself out. Control is also a piece with binge eating because we don't feel control of our aura. We don't feel control of a part of our life. And so we use food as a way to release that, to regulate that, where we feel powerless. And so we try to take our power back by controlling other things that really don't serve us. But really, when I started to do these spiritual boundaries and close off my spiritual gifts and say, listen, I am in my body and I'm not available from this moment forward. I am not available to take on any energy that does not belong to me. And a true mystic is going to put this to practice. A mystic is a practitioner of spirituality. It's not just about hearing and learning and learning and learning and learning. No, you stand up, you do the verbal command, and you F around and find out and see, feel, and know the difference. Don't take my word for this. This is the core of what I've been teaching for over a decade, and I learned the hard way by bleeding into others, by not knowing who I am, by not knowing the borders of my identity. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my thoughts. There was no security between me and the world. So your inner masculine is the security. And if you were like me and I was waiting for a man to save me and waiting to be saved like the castle and come and save me from the dragon, that's the wounded maiden of the feminine archetypes. Waiting for daddy, waiting to be saved. No, no. The alchemical marriage means that you save you, that you evoke and evolve your inner masculine, that you start to relate to your boundaries. What needs to be commanded? What boundaries need to be in place, both spiritually and psychically and in the physical world? You can't do one without the other, right? And so, is there a boundary you need to set with a friendship? Are you hanging out with somebody that you don't frickin' want to hang out with? That's going to cause a rift. That's a cog in the wheel. Being a mystic is about having a devotion to truth. And when we do these commands, we want to do them with our voice and practice our confident voice from love. I revoke and rebuke all negative energies now completely and fully, and I am filled with unconditional love, and I am not open to take on any energy that's not mine. And so it is. And I snap my finger. And then I see a force field of light around my body, and I say, Aura, get inside the force field, activate the force field of light around my body now. And I went from being the most dysregulated, anxious person in the room to being the most peaceful and powerful person in the room. You're not too much. You're not too sensitive. You are just here to wield your power. And this is our most amazing task as spiritual beings. A spiritual being is not meant to stay in the spirit world. The most spiritual thing I've ever done is commit to be a human. is do the dishes as the enlightened one. This is why I love Zen. Zen Buddhism says you already are the golden Buddha. Start living your life like it. Start practicing your spiritual powers when you're in the shower. I pray to the water, heal and release anything that's not mine. And if you love this type of thing, stick around, make sure you subscribe because that is what we do around here. We make the mystical practical, and I help you wield your power here on earth and actually merge your heavenly aspects with your physical aspects so you can embody your power physically in this world and live your greatest life and serve. You can't be a spiritual soul on the planet right now without having a strong mission to help others. You can't be a spiritual soul on the planet right now without having a strong mission to serve others. And we do this through inner union. That's the first step, is to embody your wholeness. You can't embody your wholeness and not move forward with your purpose. You will be called and called and called to serve and help, and you'll get ideas from that feminine energy. And then you'll be able to live them out and give birth to them physically. What good are ideas if we don't bring them to life? My inner feminine wrote my poetry book. My masculine said, I'm going to figure out how to get a barcode. I'm going to figure out the linear path to bring this vision and this art to life. So I can actually put that book in somebody's hands. And I did that. In 2020, I published a book of poetry called Awake in the Dream. Waking up, not the dream like lucid dreaming at night, but waking up from spiritual sleep in your day-to-day life because you are the golden Buddha. The Christ and the queendom and the kingdom and the heavenly energies live within you right now. And as a spiritual person, you have the task to wield your power on this planet. And the foundational practice of that is psychic and spiritual boundaries. And I'm here to help you with that. And I'm here to tell you, you're not crazy. Nothing's wrong with you. You have a lot of power. You just need to wield it. So go grab that meditation or that bundle. In there is a whole PDF on commands, how to use them, how they work. And a command, for example, is I revoke all negative energy today fully and completely. That's a command. So I break down commands. There's two guided meditations, a morning meditation, an evening meditation to secure your energy. I'll teach you how to do this so that you can do it yourself every single day, or you can listen to the meditation every day and I'll walk you through it. Your choice. I'm here to support you on your path. When you do these practices, you are free from being bombarded by energies and wounds and thoughts that do not belong to you. Your joy wakes up, your power wakes up, you're in relationships that are meant for you, where you're not too much or not enough, but you're just right. And you're more than enough. So that's the teaching for today. This is the alchemical marriage of bringing the heavenly energies down to earth. I hope this served you. Let me know in the comments below if you're on YouTube. And remember, I have this show both on my podcast, the Spiritually Empowered Podcast, which is the audio version, and I have it as well as a video version on YouTube. And thank you so much for being here. Like, subscribe, all the things. Send this to a sensitive soul who you care about. This could be life-changing for them. I love you, and I'll see you next week.